Good afternoon, Maryland Municipal League. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Teresa Kuhn, CEO for the Maryland Municipal League, and I am joined by Mark Williams with NIS. I'm very excited to share what Mark is willing to work with us on here in Maryland for our municipalities. I really want to first start off with tomorrow is the new legislative session. We have all seen the headlines, we have all seen the data. We are looking at a $1.5 billion deficit in Maryland. We have to consider the local government impact in many different ways, but thankfully, as we do know, we don't get a lot of funding from the state of Maryland, but it is going to impact our budgets. We just don't know quite yet how that's going to happen. The new budget comes out on the 21st. And because of these headlines over the last several months, plus the uncertainty from the federal government and federal grants and funding, I have put a really renewed focus on how can we help our municipalities save money? How can we continue to provide services not only to our residents but to our employees as well? We have 45,000 employees across the state in our municipalities. We are truly dedicated to offering these programs to help you operate and keep the costs as low as possible, but still provide the right benefits. We are hoping today you will see it is not only an employee benefit tool, it's a way to save on your current benefit programs, bringing your budgets down. And this month is focused on NIS and the insurance opportunities. Next month, we'll talk about Legit and the health program they provide, just to let you get ahead of your budget cycles and really focus on ways to bring your operating costs down. NIS is in several state leagues from Vermont, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, South Dakota. The school systems across the country and counties all partner with this group. And we are super proud to be the first one to bring NIS to Maryland. Today's conversation is focused on how municipalities can expand your employer benefits, specifically employer paid life, short term, and long term disability insurance, while managing your cost, your predictability, and administrative burden. The key feature of this partnership, which I'm sure you saw from the letter we sent last month, as well as in our magazine, The Local, in December's issue, is that NIS is willing to do a guaranteed 20% rate discount for any participating Maryland local government. We know there's fiscal challenges and they're multiplying right now for us. So this is going to support your bottom line and your employee retention. Mark, thank you so much for being with us today and welcome to Maryland, albeit virtually. I would like to ask you to first introduce yourself and your organization to our listeners today.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa. It's great to be here virtually. And I was having issues with my internet as well, so I ended up coming into the office. So, yeah, it's technology is great until it doesn't work, I always say. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, my name's Mark Williams. My role is associations vice president of associations and partnerships, and my job is really to set up life and long-term disability pools across the country, specifically with public sector. So we do mainly cities and towns and counties, but we also do a lot of schools as well. As you said, yeah, we've worked with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns for a number of years, Health Trust, which is in New Hampshire, South Dakota recently, Wisconsin as well. And we partner with a company called Madison National Life, which is a carrier that we use. That carrier is owned by Horace Mann, which if anybody's in the school business, they typically know that name. It's kind of a household brand name there. But yeah, very excited to be in Maryland and working with you.
Well, we're excited to have you here, and I want to thank you again. Mark was a good friend to us and came to our NLC Risk Conference in October and supported our state league director dinner. And we really learned so much about NIS that evening. We were able to bring a lot of our, I think it was 38 league directors together, and so many people stood up and spoke on behalf of the NIS. So once I saw the feedback from my peers, I said, okay, time to talk to Maryland. So let's jump into it. Offering benefits such as life and disability can often be seen as a workforce stability tool and really support recruitment. In your experience, are local governments across the country regularly offering life and disability insurance as part of their hiring and overall benefits packages? Is this normal for practice?
It is. So what we see is that there are a number of states across the country that don't have a state disability or life plan. In those states, you know, the employers want to provide those benefits for their public sector employees, and it's really important to them. So in a lot of states out there, we're definitely seeing that uh, it's provided to have group life insurance, group
Hmm.
disability, and short-term disability.
And I'll be honest, when I came into the league 3 years ago, we didn't offer disability insurance, and it's something we have added since because I truly believe in that, and especially based on who our employees are and where they are in their stages of life. Short-term disability for incoming parents. There's a lot of different things that we can plan for, and there's also things that we can't plan for, and that really does impact employee well-being. What specifically about your league partnership offered to Maryland local governments can they receive that they cannot access on the open market right now?
Sure. I think that the biggest piece is just stability in the rates. So,
Okay.
what we do is we set up a pool, and in because we have pools all over the country and they're all public sector, when it comes time for renewals, we can keep those rates stable. And in public sector, I mean, budgeting, as you alluded to earlier, I mean, it's been a tough time for public sector, especially in
Mhm.
cities and towns. So any kind of budgeting cuts that they can do, as far as insurance goes, it's welcome. So I think that's the biggest piece, is that because all we do is work in public sector, we understand those types of clients, and
Okay.
and then we also can provide those stable rates long term.
And that really is through that pool, which is the group participation piece of it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you explain how the guaranteed 20% rate discount actually works and who is eligible for that?
Yeah. So we set this up to have small groups as well as large groups in it. We can go up to 750 lives. Above that, if we do have a group that's larger than that, we just underwrite it. And the hope is that we are at least 20% off. And knock on wood, I haven't had one in our other states that we didn't give the 20% to as well, but the underwriters would like to look at it. But I kind of call it the sandbox. As long as the group is in the sandbox,
Sure.
25 to 750 lives, we can offer that employer paid life disability, short-term disability at 20% off.
That's wonderful. And how long is that 20% off hold for?
Yeah, so we did a 3-year rate guarantee with that.
Okay.
It's up in the air about paid family leave. We wanted to be able to make sure that if that was an issue, that we could reevaluate and make sure our rates are good for that. But if not, then we would extend it on beyond that.
And I know when we met, and those who know me who are on the call today, they know this is a good Teresa response. I said immediately, so what does year four look like? What happens? What's going to happen to that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's probably the best news that I have, is that you know, it's like I think it's like 99.9% of the time we don't give a rate increase. In my experience, I haven't, and I've been working with a company for 15 years. But I'll give you an example. So in New Hampshire Health Trust, they've been with us and with Madison National Life for 21 years.
Oh,
They've
wow.
had 3 or 4 rate decreases over the years and never a rate increase. And to give you like just a wow, if you will, so this is for the whole state, and they also insure a lot of schools too, but mainly cities and towns. Their renewal 3 years ago was a 5% decrease, and this is a block that's been with us for 21 years, with a 3-year rate guarantee. Their renewal this last year was a 15% decrease with a 5-year rate guarantee. So,
Wow.
when you're trying to budget, and you can go back to a whole block and say, hey, you know what? I know we've given you rate decreases in the past, but you're going to get 15% off, and maybe you can hire another employee or just not have to worry about, this being a burden.
Oh, absolutely. We're adding on another kind of benefit because of the savings. There's a lot of opportunity for that. I'll tell you, we looked at the program and just for our team, and we're less than 15 employees, our controller recognized the savings about $5,000 for our upcoming budget year, which we are very excited to say we will be one of the first going over to NIS starting July 1st. But I know if other cities are interested now, you can take them on now, correct?
Absolutely. Instead of getting a
Okay,
3-year rate guarantee, they'd get maybe a 3-year and 6-month rate guarantee or
perfect.
yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted to share what those real dollars really sound like. So our folks know we are a small staff team, but that's a pretty significant savings where we can put money somewhere else or savings on membership dues for our members. So if a municipality is currently offering or is considering offering life and disability coverage, how does the program work? What kind of benefits, the customer service, what's the access like for cities in Maryland?
Sure. So, going back to your thoughts on it being about 5,000, we see anywhere from 30 to $50,000 or even higher in savings,
Wow.
and
Okay.
that's every year. So, a lot of times it's another employee, which for a city or town that could be another police officer or another person in staff that they can bring on, which is great. But as far as customer service, we have an enormous team that can help with everything from day to day, the claims to helping them with any type of customer service. We also have a dedicated billing rep that works just for that specific group. So when they call in, they don't have to get an 800 number and wonder, you know, everybody's had that before where you call in, you have to explain everything. The same person that you have asked questions about your bill is always the person that you're going to talk to, and they know who you are and can help with that.
I'm pretty guilty of hitting zero or yelling human about 10 times just to get out of those
Absolutely.
systems. Um, so what is the administrative burden like for our folks back in the cities, for HR, the finance teams, or city managers?
Yeah, great question. So, really not much. So, what we would need to get started is a copy of your current bill. That's how we get the 20% off, and also a census, and then just what your actual policy is, the certificates with that, so that we can match those benefits, and and then we can bring a group on at any month, and they can still keep their renewal going as a July 1. So really, anytime that they want to come on board. The other nice thing is that we do a really quick checklist and make sure that all the benefits are in line, and we make sure that our team is able to talk to the group so that they know, okay, this is when the old coverage is ending, and this is when the new coverage is beginning. We also don't require a group to do new beneficiary forms. So if
Okay.
they're old beneficiary forms, they can use those if they want. So for your employees, it really is no change for them. And ultimately, typically, employees don't care what carrier they are. If it's an A-rated carrier and it's which we are, um, at the end of the day, if they're disabled, they just want the check.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily caring where it's coming from.
And as long as the same coverage and they're getting the same
Absolutely.
benefit, that's what matters. So
Yes.
I'm looking at who's on the call and I see the city of Cambridge. Hello, Mr. Steckman, and I see some smaller towns too. How does this program scale for our small towns versus maybe our mid-sized to larger cities? Does it scale differently? Is it based on the employee amount?
Well, what's nice is no matter what your rate is right now, you get the 20% off. So a lot of times the smaller groups, they tend to not be able to get those great rates because they're a very small entity. And if they do have a big claim or they have a claim, that tends to you know, for lack of better words, jack up their rates when at renewal. So because they're in a pool, then we can keep those rates stable because the smaller groups are helping the bigger groups, and the bigger groups are helping the smaller groups, and it's kind of we're all in this together,
Yeah.
which is nice.
And for our members who are on, it's very similar to Legit's Health Pool. So we have 24 groups in there, and that is 21 cities, the MML staff, Legit staff, and we all are pooled together. Same situation. It's an easy way to stay with Legit as well when you sign on to this. My last question before I let Mark do a little quick little presentation and do closing remarks. What is the next step for anyone who is interested in exploring this opportunity? Who do they reach out to?
They can certainly reach out to you, Teresa, but I'm going to give them all my contact information, and that's great if they can just reach out to me directly as well.
Perfect.
And I'll show a couple slides so that everybody has my information.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for letting me ask a few questions first. If you don't mind having you share your presentation now
Yeah,
and offer any closing remarks for our officials.
that sounds wonderful. Hopefully everybody can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was hoping that it would go to see if I can get it sized here differently. Oh, sorry. So we talked a little bit about who we are and what we do. 92% of our business is public sector. And I will say this, that our persistency is at 98% each year. So year after year, clients stay with us. And I think the big reason for that is, we have really good customer service, but also the stability in rates is a big deal. I also think that if you work in public sector, if you do a really good job, people hear about that. And if you do a bad job, people hear about that. So there's a reason that we've been able to, stay with leagues and in public sector for so long. This is our flyer that got a great picture of Teresa on it. But just gives a little bit of, there's a lot going on there in that flyer. But really, just I think what's important is that if you have employer paid life, long-term disability, or short-term disability, we can give you a 20% guaranteed off of your rates. And, how do I calculate that? Well, it's 20% off your premiums or 20% off your rate. Same thing either way on that. When we brought on the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, which was back in 2021, we had 130 groups come on board all at once. So with 300 different lines of business, and that went off without a hitch. So Ted up in Vermont League of Cities and Towns and his staff were very happy with that, and they've gone on to have no rate increases as well. And if a group is interested in coming on board with us, we would send out a checklist to make sure that we have all of their benefits and that they know, okay, this is when we're going to be moving forward. You certainly can come on before July if you'd like. You just have a little bit longer rate guarantee than the 3 years. And then really, what are the next steps? If you're ready to make a jump right now, you want to save 20% and you don't want to wait until July, that's fine. All you would need to do is send me an employee census, your current policy documents, and a copy of your recent bill, and we can get going and have you sign up in the next month or so. If you want more information, I can do a presentation like this, which is actually specific to your city or town, and I'd be happy to do that and meet with you either virtually or in person. And then what happens from there? We would review all of your materials and make sure that you're eligible, and then we would implement it. So finally, this is my information. I'll zoom in there a little bit. You've got my email, but you also have my cell phone. I carry that around all the time. Always available anytime to help you. And again, very excited to work with the Maryland League. And thanks again, Teresa, for having me today.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry again about the camera and the lack of internet in my house right now. Sorry to do this with the blank screen up there. For everyone who's watching, We will be sending out the recording. We will be putting on MD Community in our little YouTube channel, and this will be going out to all our city managers and clerks in the state, along with Mark's information. So if you didn't grab the screen grab, we will make sure you get it by tomorrow, I believe, is the plan. So thank you all for being with us, Mark. I'm really excited to have you here in Maryland. I think we will see a huge increase in this offering for our members' employees. I appreciate everyone being a part of this today. And for those who celebrate, happy opening legislative day reception tomorrow. Please join us at 6 o'clock if you're around. Thank you and have a great afternoon.
Thanks.
Thanks.